then something is changing, as I told you, because Manchester United found their way signing Bruno, going in the Champions League, feeling Pogba. Now the feeling of Paul is, okay, I am in a top club. We can be back to win also for the Premier League, and he has good feelings now. And something is changing also on the transfer market because of the virus. Obviously, we are saying it with Sancho, with many deals. It's not easy to find and to buy top players like Pogba on this transfer market. So the same for Juventus and for Real Madrid. They are not going to do some deals like Pogba or 100 million because, as I told you, Manchester United feel frustrated after the statement of Borussia Dortmund in the middle of negotiation. They don't want any deadline. They say, okay, we have 2 months to negotiate. Why we have to stop now? Every top club is speaking about top players now during the summer or next month. Why we have to stop now? We want to talk. We want to try again. So the feeling of Manchester United is we want to go again with Jadon Sancho as priority target. Borussia Dortmund are going to say, if you want him, you have to pay, or the player will stay here. And I don't have the feeling that the player will strike with Borussia Dortmund. I have the feeling that it's possible he will speak with Borussia Dortmund. That is different, because when a player goes to speak and want to understand the situation, it's something different from strike with the club. And he, at the moment, is going to be a respectful guy for his club. So in this moment, Manchester United must show to Borussia Dortmund Jadon Sancho wants to come back to the Premier League, want to play the Champions League with Manchester United. So in this moment, personal terms are not a problem. It's normal that he also is now in a good club, because Borussia Dortmund is a good club. They have good players, young players. They play the Champions League too. So he must not force to go out. But his conviction is, I want to go to Manchester United. And I think personal terms are okay, are not a problem. Also because Manchester United is normal. They are speaking about the situation because they don't have the player now. And it's normal you say, okay, we don't have the total agreement. Who's working on the Jadon Sancho deal? They always say, we go with Jadon Sancho. We go with Jadon Sancho. So I think we have to wait a bit to understand who would be the other option, the backup option for Manchester United. Because at this moment, they have in the mind still Jadon Sancho and no more. But as I
Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. I laugh at my own laugh.
I was just going to say that is brilliant.
Big up Elite AJ that made that for us. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Fuad is with us. How's it going, mate?
All good, bro. All good. You?
Yeah, I can't complain. It's busy times with Champions League, Europa League. The transfer window is keeping us busy. RB Leipzig, of course, winning 1-0 right now. And I will say quickly, what a performance so far from Upper Meccano.
Oh, brilliant.
Don at the back. Almost as good as Harry Maguire. It's amazing. Like,
you try to sneak that in. No, honestly, though, top performance from someone who's had a lot of noise and kind of hype had around him this year. It's good to see him kind of step up in these kind of Champions League moments against an Atletico side that is a bit more defensive, but nonetheless, I think Diego Costa ain't the easiest man to handle. So, and he's winning that physical battle, so fair play to him.
He's winning the physical battle, and he's not getting drawn into any kind of shenanigans. I'm sure Diego Costa's there, chatting in his ear, treading on his feet, pinching him, whatever these
everything
guys do. And Upper Meccano, do you know what? I'm just going to play. I'm going to do me, be me, and do that. We're here to talk transfers. We're going to talk Jadon Sancho to United, of course, Fabrizio Romano on the Stretford paddock. Big up Howson and the boys over there for getting that done today. Spoke about that. Deal is still on, as we've told you here. By the way, so many people got triggered by the title of my video earlier. The reason I put poo emojis on there is because I said the deal being over is poo. It doesn't mean anything. We're going to talk Havertz to Chelsea, Thiago to Liverpool. Phone lines are open. But the first deal I want to speak about, obviously, Fuad's a Spurs fan. You've signed the might of Højbjerg this week. I say that a little bit flippantly, but how excited are you to see him? Is he someone that was on the radar of Tottenham fans before the signing? Or do you feel like, this could be a bit of a Jose masterclass deal? What do you reckon?
I think it's more towards the latter. I don't think kind of any Spurs fan is kind of jumping out their skin saying, oh my God, we've got Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And he's one of them players who you've kind of always seen that's kind of got a bit of talent, got a bit of ability. But I think, especially this season, for me personally, I'll probably watch Southampton a little bit more. I personally like what he brings to the table. And that's, for me, someone who actually enjoys defending, which I think is a rare trait in the modern game. I think he can find a pass forward better than what we've currently got in Harry Winks, Sissoko. I think a leader, which is something I think Spurs lack majorly. I think we lack real leadership and some big kind of winners, if you want to say. And for me, he's someone who I think can bring those things at captain at international level, captain at club level. I mean, he's definitely. And if you listen to his first interview, some of the stuff he was saying, I just said, I mean, we know talk is talk, but at the end of the day, he was saying all the right things I wanted to hear, and kind of similarly, eerily to what Mourinho kind of wants from a player. He kind of was speaking a lot on that, and I'm looking forward to it. To be honest, I think he's not one of those signings that I think people go crazy about, but maybe in 6 months' time we'll look at it and say, do you know what? That's a genius kind of low risk move, because it's only 15 million. You've got nothing to lose. And with Kyle Walker-Peters going the other way for 12 million, essentially it's a 3 million deal. So for me, for 3 million, getting Pierre-Emile Højbjerg for a position that's been a problem for us for about 2-3 years, I think it will be good to see someone who just plugs that gap and then allows Lo Celso that little bit more freedom to go forward. And if Ndom gets a chance to be in that team as well, I think that could be a nice little trio in Højbjerg, Lo Celso, and Ndom.
Of course, and Southampton play good football as well. So you know that he's going to have that ability to pass and move the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an interesting one. I think it's going to end up being one of those sort of dark horse type moves where you'll get towards the end of the season and he could be one of those players earmarked as like the signing of the season, as an example. So it's going to be an interesting one.
And just on him as well, I wouldn't even I wouldn't expect Spurs fans to start expecting fireworks, for example. He's a defensive midfielder at the end of the day. But what I think he'll do is similar to what you said. I think he'll just be consistent enough throughout the season, where at the end of the season, you're kind of just looking back at it and say, do you know what? He's been probably one of their most consistent, outstanding performers, because Southampton this season have had big lows in the first half and then big kind of ups. And he's been involved in kind of a lot of that kind of resurgence. And I love to see that him kind of replicate that at Spurs.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think we get so held. There's all these big deals going on at the minute. Thiago to Liverpool, Havertz to Chelsea, as an example. The Sancho deal we're going to delve into in a few moments. But often I keep saying it, like it's not for us as football fans to work out where these deals can be done and made as such, because that's not our job. But there are certainly there has to be options out there. Like I want United to sign a new centre back, and a lot of people speak about Koulibaly, and maybe we will go in for him. As I think DiMaggio tweeted about it today. But I sort of feel like who's the next Koulibaly? That's kind of like what I want Man United to go and find, is the next Koulibaly, rather than just like we've done with bringing Greenwood through as an example. It's like we haven't got to go out and buy in. If he progresses and turns into the player we think he will be, that's going to save us £200 million in the transfer market in 4 or 5 years' time. Who are the 19, 20, 21-year-olds we can get now and sneak through? Because I always look at the Leipzigs of this world, as we mentioned. Where was Upamecano?
Yeah.
You know, you look at a lot of these good footballing European sides. Tottenham did it. Nobody was that interested in Toby and Yang Vertonghen. Why?
Yeah. You look at even Eriksen, Modric. Over the years, I think that's kind of been Spurs' model to kind of sign these young foreign talents and develop them into kind of stars. And I think one thing that's happening nowadays in football is I think smaller clubs and European clubs especially are becoming smarter to that. Example, the Benfica selling João Felix for God knows however many million it was, 120 million or whatever. So I think the smaller clubs now are realizing these big boys will come sniffing for our younger talent. Let's charge exorbitant, ridiculous amounts, which kind of I think sometimes puts clubs off going for that younger talent, because at the same time, you've got to build that young talent up. You've got to develop him. You've got to work him. And I don't think every big club has that patience, i.e. a Chelsea or a United. They want to see someone, if we spend 80, 90 million on you, we better see instant impact. We don't want to see kind of the situation we've gone through with Dembele this season, where, you are a record signing, but we've barely seen you. I think if United or City or someone was to go through that, they'd be ripping their hairs out. And I think that's the struggle a lot of clubs are coming with now. It's the players who are already established are kind of on long-term deals and unavailable and kind of aren't attracted maybe to the project. And then the younger players are just having these ridiculous price tags slapped on them to the point where the move just doesn't even look attractive. Example, the Havertz, the Chelsea one for me, to be honest, I think Leverkusen are just seeing how desperate Chelsea are for this deal. And they're like, do you know what? We're not budging until you lot move. And it's similarly even with the Sancho Dortmund. Like, that's a young player. Maybe 10 years ago, whatever, you could have got him for half the price. But it's like now they know that, oh, we can actually charge them. They paid 85 million for Maguire last year. We can charge them 120. So clubs are sticking to their guns. And with there being more financial kind of freedom in the game, I think these clubs are more inclined to stick with it.
Of course, and the Premier League clubs have got so much money now. I read that Bournemouth are now a richer club than teams like Benfica. Benfica have been dining at the top table of football for 60 years. Bournemouth feel like a new club, and they're there because they've had 4 or 5 years of Premier League money, £150 million a year coming into their coffers. It makes them super rich. So there is this element where instantly you get the clubs abroad go, okay, well, how do we get our Premier League money? What we do is we charge exorbitant amounts of money, and we'll make them pay it. And I think that in the Premier League, there has been this, and Fergie, like, I love Fergie. And I know
we all do, trust me.
In the last 3 or 4 years at the club, I felt Fergie was more concerned with just winning the league than he was developing the next generation at the club. And whether that be buying young and developing like a Ronaldo or a Rooney, or whether it be players. I look at the Andersons and the Smallings and the Jones of this world. They never got enough game time at a young enough age at United because they weren't as good as
the Rios and the Vidic and
Scholes is. And we've got to keep winning the league though. And you sort of I look back now with hindsight, and of course hindsight is a very lucrative commodity. But I feel like if we'd have maybe just played those kids a bit more, maybe we wouldn't have, maybe we'd have won one less Premier League title, but maybe we'd be in a better position now than we are. Who knows? We don't know.
100%.
And I think like that's what I look at with Man United now. I'm not worried about signing Sancho because I think it will get in the way of Mason Greenwood. I think Mason Greenwood is good enough to get enough game time. Where I would be concerned is if we did a Chelsea this summer and bought if we bought another number 10, another striker and Sancho, then I'd be really worried about Mason Greenwood. In the same way, Chelsea fans should be concerned about their youngsters because they're buying an abundance of talent. And I know they're trying to finesse this. Oh, they'll still play. They'll still get as many minutes. They'll still do.
Reality will hit.
Yeah.
The reality will hit, and they'll realize that the players who, like, for example, Havertz now, if he comes in, Kovacic has arguably been their star man in their midfield this season, where Kante's kind of gone in and out of the squad. And then you've had Mount, who's kind of had like this breakout year that Chelsea fans are loving and calling him mini Lampard. So it's like one of those two is going to give way if Kai Havertz comes in for 90, 100 mil. And my thing is as well is, I said it on the podcast the other week, I don't even know why Chelsea are kind of trying to break the bank on Havertz, because I don't think he's the ready-made product yet. Anybody who watched the Bundesliga this season saw the first half, he looked a shadow of himself. And in the second half of the season, when the COVID restart happened, he moved a bit more further forward and was actually allowed to get involved in the goals more. And he, of course, turned the form around. But I still don't think he's that player, similar to like when Hazard came in. I don't think he's going to have that level of impact. And I think that's the risk for Chelsea. It's, are you going to go now spend 100 mil on a player who you necessarily don't really need? And then you're also maybe having to develop him. And then you still might have the same issues that you had this season in defensively because you didn't choose to address that. So it's a weird one that clubs are in at the minute. But I personally like the situation Chelsea are in. If they're willing to break it all on and risk it all on Havertz, by all means, go for it, because I know there's definitely bigger issues for them to address.
Do you know, I hear that. I said on a different show earlier today, I think what's in the minds of Man United and Chelsea is if they leave Havertz and Sancho next season, other clubs may have their finances back in order. And, you know, I feel like if Bayern Munich came in for Kai Havertz, he'd go there. I feel right now, if Liverpool came in seriously for Mo Salah because they're selling Mane to Barcelona, I would really panic. I would really worry. And I feel like both clubs have almost got a free run at these players, and it's their opportunity to bring them in. But as you say, there are Man United is their holding midfield role. I mean, what's weird tonight? Thomas Partey's on the bench for Atletico. For me,
I saw that. Yeah,
I look at all the top six in England, and I'm thinking £42 million. Now, to you and I, as working class men, £42 million it's life changing. I would have I would be dead in 3 years if I had that much money. But like the parties would be too much. But £42 million for these Premier League clubs for a player of that quality, for me, it feels like a drop in the ocean. But no one's paying. But no one's looking at paying it. I find that strange. You've got Upamecano that signed this new deal at RB. Like, I just sort of look at it and think, what are we doing? These players were available £50 million. And I'm not saying Arsenal haven't signed some good players, and Saliba might be a baller. Saliba might be one of these ballers we're talking about. But you know, with Arsenal, if Saliba's a baller, in 2 years he ain't going to be there anyway. But if you go in City or somewhere like that,
he's off. He's off to win some silverware, real silverware.
Feed a club, absolutely. But no, I get what you're saying around the Chelsea thing. I think Man United have those same issues. I was saying earlier, I want Sancho desperately. I've got obviously another bias. He's English, and I want the best English talent at my club.
Yeah,
that way I can enjoy them even more at international level because they're one of my own. But
the signing of Sancho will kind of put United back to where it was, in a sense of like, you guys were historically known as, if there's the best English talent around, United will end up getting him some way, somehow. So I think that's kind of also the other crux for United fans. They feel like if we don't complete this signing, we're still not back to being Man United yet. And I think that little bit of shaky form in the end also put a little kind of thing into them where you guys are now a little bit worried that you might not have enough going into next season and you still need that little bit more firepower. And I think that's one thing I was glad maybe the last 2-3 games showed, was off that good form. We was some of us were saying, hey, it's a purple patch, and you might come out the other side and think, yeah, we're dark horse title contenders next season, but you still need to add to that team. If there's one thing Liverpool and City have shown us, is depth matters.
Yeah, no doubt at all. I was being asked that question after lockdown and about title push, title challenge, and I said, look, there's no way that's happening without Sancho and Pogba staying. And one of the bits of news tonight is Paul Pogba. He, for Fabrizio Romano's actual words on the Stretford paddock, make sure you're subscribing to the Stretford paddock, was, and I will read it, it says, Paul Pogba will play for Man United next season and for many years. Contract talks will commence once the season is over, likely in September. And I think that's massive for Man United to know that Paul Pogba is going to be staying. And listen, people can banter and people can throw out, oh, it's only because of the CV19, it's only because of money. But if you listen to what Fabrizio said, and I think most of us take his word as pretty knowledgeable and pretty in-depth, that's part of it, because the big clubs have said they're not coming in for him. But also, he came back to the club after his injury and felt like he'd walked into a new club. The attitude, the playing style, the fact that we're attracting the Sanchos, what Bruno brings to the football club. And I think that it's massive news him signing, because he's almost an impossible player to replace, because he is that good, and there isn't players of his level in midfield around European football. How likely are you to get them from their football clubs? So, this could fall into our hands, this situation, and give Man United an upper hand. But what we need to do is, like you've said, is improve. And if we don't get Sancho, said it a few times, we then need to spend that money elsewhere. Because if you brought in a Partey, a Jack Grealish, a Gabriel, and Tagliafico, then
that's
wow. Oh, what was that? Foul or a penalty? Nothing. I thought it's João Felix.
Yeah,
I thought he was about to score a back. He's booking João Felix to dive in as well. That's 2 dives in like 5 minutes. Ati had been booked for. But we go.
Just what you was touching on there, I think Pogba is such a crucial part, and I think I said it even last time I said onto this whole United project. I think he almost feels like there's unfinished business from the fact that he's since re-signing for the club, but then also I think he's now seen the kind of change around that's been at the club, the dressing room, the atmosphere, the playing style. And he's like, do you know what? I've actually got some decent talent where Greenwood's emerged and Bruno's emerged.
Sorry, I think it's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
It is a penalty.
It is a penalty, yeah.
I've got no commentary on, so I actually can't hear exactly what's going on. That was nice from João Felix there. Penalty.
Hey, the boy comes on, makes a difference.
Who's taking this penalty?
It's him. João steps up.
Go on, young man. Do you know what?
Hey, I love that.
I've got no skin in the game at all, really. Although I'd like Leipzig win it, because then I'd like Timo Werner to feel bad. But I'd like to see this young kid score a goal, because this is big, him stepping up.
Here we go. There we go.
There is it. There we go. 1-1.
He's deserved that, man. He's had a rough season. And I know everyone blames Simeone, but I'm a massive, massive Simeone fan. So I hope they're the ones that go through in this. I feel like he's come too close to the Champions League too many times to not win it. And I think he's he's one of them managers. He's taken over a team that's kind of shouldn't be competing for these Champions Leagues, but he's constantly got them there. Whether it be through gritty playing style that people don't like, you have to respect it. And now you look at them.
Look at that. It's be interesting now. Last sort of, was it 15, 20 minutes of that game is going to be massively interesting. We're going to throw some other callers into the stream to add their sound. We've got Jem coming on. We've got Monster.
KJ's there as well.
I'm not sure if that's the KJ because KJ had his camera on. If that's elite, camera on. I don't think that's elite. I think no. See, that's Safe, who's banned from the channel, keeps changing his name. Safe, you're getting banned. You show your nipples on my screen again, son. I think it's elite. You're out of here, boy. Let's get these boys on. See what I gotta say. Yes, gentlemen. Stephen as well. Gooner in the house. How's it going, boys?
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Good.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm glad to see Jen with a shirt on tonight, not sitting there in his vest and bra like it's.
I thought I'd be a bit more. I thought I'd be a bit more presentable for you today, Terry. You know.
Who are we picking now? 1-1, 20 minutes ago. Who's going through tonight?
I think Atletico for Andy.
Simeone shithousery coming.
Yeah, I got that feeling as well right now. What do you want to say? We'll start with Monster. What do you want to say, mate? What's on your mind?
First of all, can I just say on this game, man, Simeone went too negative, man. I don't know what he was playing at. Why is Partey not playing? Why is he not starting João Felix? Diego Costa looks done. I don't know. He doesn't. He looks like Fernando Torres. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just read a tweet that said he drank the same juice as Fernando Torres, I think.
Yeah, he's not looking the same at all, man. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he's you know, when you see a player, I remember when you guys sold him, there was a lot of sort of like, oh, he's going too early. But you look at him now, like you wouldn't have even known that he's played tonight. He looks a shadow of himself, if that makes sense. Like,
has he been injured though? Has he been out with injury? Or something?
He was injured earlier on in the season, I think.
Yeah,
he's had a lot of injuries.
I think the entire I think the entire time he's been back at Atletico, it hasn't been a smooth ride for him. It's been rough.
They say never go. They say an X is an X for a reason, don't they? Do you know what I mean?
And I think this is his third spell there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think he went out on loan.
He went out on loan a couple times, I think it was. Then he moved permanently. Then he came back, which was when he picked up the form, and then Chelsea signed him, and then he came back the third time now, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Upamecano's looking serious though, man. He's looking serious.
That boy, man. Yeah, looking a player. If that was him making that tackle, it wouldn't have been a penalty. But
Upamecano or Jimenez?
Upamecano, man.
Yeah,
he seems like he's got a better ceiling.
Okay,
I haven't seen enough of the lad, to be honest. I've seen a lot more of Jimenez than I've seen of this lad at Leipzig, to be honest. So I can't really comment.
Jimenez is a unit.
I mean, I'd like Eva next to Maguire, to be honest. Like, honestly, if you put Upamecano next to Maguire, that is a formidable centre back, because what Upamecano would bring in would just he'd give that speed to the club. But with Upamecano, he ain't a speed merchant. He has got the ability to play out. He's got intelligence. He can read the game. He's a bit of a cultured baller, and I love seeing that. And I feel like if you
Terry, he's young as
that's
well.
why Van Dijk, he's very young, and that's why Van Dijk's so good, because Van Dijk's got the sort of speed and the athleticism coupled with the cultured balling. You mix. I always find like he's a mixture of sort of Vidic and Rio put together. And
what's his value at the moment? What's his value at the moment? This guy.
Who? Upamecano.
Oh no, yeah. What are they value?
Well, he just signed a new contract.
Yeah,
it's got to be at least 100 mil.
And he was 50 mil earlier on in the season, so he had a buyout clause for 50 mil. Yeah.
But that might be. I still wouldn't be surprised if they sold him, but they've just done the new deal because they get more money. Like it's win-win for Upamecano, because you sort of say, well, we want to get top dollar for you. We'll give you a pay increase until that point comes in, and if no one does come, you're getting paid more. If somebody does, we get our money. And the thing is, a lot of these players, they respect the club they're at. And there's an element of, I think we saw Suarez sign a new deal, then leave. Cristiano Ronaldo signed a new deal, then leave. It happens quite regularly where they'll sign that deal so their club gets top money, and then they'll move on from there. But for me, if Man United announced tomorrow we're signing him for 70, 80 million, I'll be buzzing. I'll be over the moon.
This whole thing with this whole Sancho deal is that Sancho could quite easily say, he can come out and say he wants to be at Man United. And make it quite sort of ugly in Messi. But he's been very respectful to both Dortmund and Man United as well, which is credit to him himself. It's probably a turbulent time for him to go through.
He's also got a quoted 8.5 million reasons to keep being nice.
Yeah, but
I read today it's about 8.5 million pounds he gets of the transfer fee if he doesn't put in a request or if he doesn't go on strike or anything like that. And I think that's become a new thing, and clubs will put that into their clauses because they don't want to lose money on these deals. At the same time, they don't want people becoming problems. You know, it's okay if you.
But then even then, Terry, I don't see him as that sort of person, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%, I agree.
I do as well. It's interesting as well. Another thing Fabrizio said tonight, as we're speaking about his updates, is that Ousmane Dembele is a potential link. But he also said that tonight that Barca are desperate to get rid of him, and
you don't want to go there.
When a club is desperate to get rid of, I know somebody said, "Well, they're desperate for money." I'm like, yeah, I know they are. Like, if I was desperate for money, and Dembele was going to become the player his potential says, you'd keep him and you keep Fati. You'd cash in on Messi now in his career. Like, if you were desperate for money, the one you cash in on is Messi because
I think
Fati and Dembele for the future. Dembele is a problem child.
Is he? Is he?
He is.
Because we've been hearing this for how long now? And for me personally, I know he's had injury issues since he signed for Barca, but I mean, like, what we've seen of Dembele throughout his career is basically a season at Dortmund and half a season at Rennes. And we're now 2 years removed from that, but everybody's still convinced that. I mean, I saw this kid at the World Cup starting 2 group games and get hauled off. Then knockout stages, the manager didn't trust him to play anything except 2 minutes in the knockout stage, and your team went on to win the World Cup. For me, I don't know if Dembele either lacks the mental capacity or I don't know. But for me, I would not class him as a suitable replacement if you lot don't get Sancho. I think that's a major downgrade in my opinion, and a way bigger risk considering his injuries as well.
I think all potential, you know, he's all fur coat and no knickers, so all potential and no degree. I think his body's made of biscuits, so he gets injured, and I do think he has an attitude problem. I think we're not going to say what we were talking about, Fuad, but there are some people that have those kind of complexes. The world owes him a living, and I think that he almost feels like a footballer in that mode. I've got the ability, so I'll make it anyway, and he doesn't want to put our graft in, and maybe that's why he suffers with injuries. Maybe his body isn't in the condition that it needs to be in. As an example,
I was just going to say to you know, continue with that point is he's basically got what you was talking about the other day when you were saying Hazard is unprofessional. You know, your body has to be in a certain condition for you to recover from injuries and things like that. And from what I've heard, he just, you know, he's not eating right. He's not, you know, going to the conditioning training and
Hazard got the deal and decided to go to McDonald's and just
So then they've been saying that Dembele, he doesn't eat right, you know, he doesn't turn up for you know, conditioning and, you know, physiotherapy and things like that. So do you know what I mean? Discipline issues.
I don't know if that's what you want to make kind of your marquee signing, but just to touch back on Jadon again, I actually really like that, and I think that's something almost Dortmund have learnt from the sale of Aubameyang and Dembele. Give these players a little sweetener or something to stop them from kicking up a fuss. And to be honest, it's refreshing to see a player who's actually saying, you know what, I'm actually happy where I am type of thing. Well, he hasn't come out and said he's happy, but he seems that way, Jadon. So if he doesn't kick up a fuss, I'll respect it. But at the same time, I think if United are really, really serious, they'll push him to do it.
Of course. And I also feel we saw this. David De Gea and Wayne Rooney have done the same thing at Man United twice. They've pushed for moves away. But David De Gea did it all while talking about how much he loves the fans, how much he respects the club. Didn't go public with a new challenge. Rooney got abuse. Paul Pogba tried to leave Man United last summer, but instead of playing the right PR game and saying, I love the fans, this club means a lot to me, I'm here, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm here, this is where I want to be. He did the whole, I fancy a new challenge. The way Man United may not end up paying the money for whatever reason, it might fall through. If Sancho comes out and gives it the whole, I want to leave, I want to go home, it's a horrible situation for him to come back and play in front of those fans again. Yeah. I remember, you know, Griezmann was doing it for 2 or 3 years, was trying to get away from Atletico.
Look how it's turned out for him.
Exactly. He stayed on too long, but they all did the same thing over and over again. I love the fans. When Anthony Martial was instructing his agent to look for a new club, when he was questioned about it, he just said, I love this club. I love the fans. It's always the fans. They always pull on the fans. It's always like, I love the fans. Fans fall for that. We are, your man's literally cheating on you, but because he puts out a little Facebook post how much he loves you. Oh, my man. Even though you married the next girl last night, he did that. It doesn't matter to this, like, no, but he publicly said he loves me. So that's all I care about. I find it all just a little bit like, I can see through the PR stunt, no doubt.
Terry, it's like I mean, I constantly have that usually with doctors, is that usually they tell me like a different sort of side to the story than they actually straight up and be honest. And I prefer it where the surgeon who's under my care, he always comes up, no matter whether it's his fault or not, he comes up and says, like, I'm sorry, we made a mistake, or this is what it is, and it's straight up front and honest.
Tells it how it is.
Yeah, and I'd rather a player, if he doesn't want to be there, just say so.
Facts.
I ain't got a problem with that.
Yeah.
No, mate, I know, and I'm a bit like that. That's why I didn't like what Paul Pogba said, but I respected the fact that he was upfront about it. I didn't like that though, and the reason I didn't like it, I think undeniably, is I don't like any kind of unprofessional behavior. Like if my staff member wants to leave my company, go and do that, but don't spend the whole day at work telling everyone how much you hate it here or how much you want to leave, or going publicly attacking the company, because there's an element of like respecting the organization that you're with that I believe in. And
I also think though,
I think that's the thing. You can say I don't want to be here, but it's just saying I've got nothing against like the company, or I've got nothing against the club that I'm playing for. It's just that I fancy to go somewhere else, and I fancy a new challenge.
And I think also the surrounding plays a part as well. Like Paul Pogba, the situation at United 1 year ago wasn't looking that great. I mean, you had Ollie just come in and kind of steer the ship a little bit, but everything was still kind of up in the air. There was no Bruno, there was no nothing. So for him, he's kind of thinking, do you know what? This might be my last opportunity. I moved to Real Madrid, so let me try and push through. Yeah. And then, exactly. So the situation might not have been pretty. Whereas for Sancho now, I think Dortmund, I feel maybe similar to Upamecano, he owes them a little bit because they gave him that breakthrough. And he's kind of just thinking, do you know what? Let me not kind of throw it back in their face, because they took him out of the Man City Academy, gave him the number 7 and said, you're going to be our starting man. The same with Upamecano. I'm not sure where he got signed from, but I'm sure some French club we've never heard of. And then they've said to him, you're going to be our main man here. So that one thing I'm liking these youngsters is they're actually giving back to these clubs who've given them the opportunities and those breakthroughs.
Well, there is a sense, though, that Upamecano is going to go to Bayern next season. There is.
I would hate that. I love Bayern, but I'm sick of them stealing everybody in Germany.
Because they are getting rid of Boateng as well. They're looking to get him out this summertime.
Yeah. They've got options though with Alaba, Pavard,
Alaba might not be staying.
That's ludicrous. Well? Why is nobody trying to sign Alaba?
He's madness, isn't
he? He wants to go to Spain.
Alaba's so versatile as well as a player.
One of the most complete footballers in Europe. So versatile, a leader, technically gifted, defensively sound, like mentally, physically. You look at every aspect of the game, he ticks those boxes, but I'd break the bank to get him.
The madness of that is that he used to play left back, and obviously what's his name?
Davis.
Yeah, he came in, right? But not that he came in and cement himself in that left back. He got moved into centre back. Do you know what I mean? He didn't get dropped and then out of the Bayern team. He actually got put into the defence.
Elite baller, and
I'm not going to compare the two, because the Alaba's on a completely different level. But you say mate Nas, for example, as a youngster, he's a midfielder. He's not a right back. And the fact is, he then went even for the FA Cup final as a left back, and not just the FA Cup final, in the semi-final against Man City. And
Man United had a player like that. Man United had a sort of a championship, a beating Verga. No, I was going to say more John O'Shea, because John O'Shea,
for real,
back midfield, like not on Alaba's level, but that versatility.
Yeah.
If you find but this is the thing, right? So depending on your position you play in, I love that Ashley Young did it to an extent. Like Ashley Young was one of them players. I didn't really hate on Ashley Young like some people did. I thought he was all right and whatnot. But like versatile players are the ones within their sort of positional sense. It's what I love about Messi and Ronaldo. They can play right across that front line and they're impactful.
You know what's so funny though? John O'Shea's versatility.
It's so helpful for the depth of your squad as well.
100%. But that John O'Shea's versatility is so funny you mentioned that, because am I not mistaken, he's one of the reasons why Pogba chose to leave. Was it not in that League Cup game where him and Raphael started as the two centre mids?
It was a Premier League game.
Was it a Premier League game?
And we lost it. Yeah, I think this is where those kind of conversations fall down. Fergie to this day still says his problem was he didn't. I think Fergie let his emotions get the better of him in the sense of Fergie didn't like Mino Raiola. I think Fergie saw the changing landscape of football where agents had all this power, and Fergie adapted with the times for 40 years. Mm-hmm. I won't ever hold it against him that towards the end in his 70s, he got to a point where he was like, I don't like how this is going. Remember, Man United players and the club didn't even have a social media account until after he retired. It was literally summer. Yeah. None of it existed. He didn't. Yeah, he didn't like it. Our players weren't allowed them. And think about it like from a logical point of view. Look how many players have had bans in football and got themselves in trouble because of social media. Like Fergie was just like, I don't want you doing anything like that, because his view was always people will turn stuff against you. Look how many Man United players get abused. If Man United put up a post that says happy birthday Jesse Lingard gets racially abused because of it. And I think Fergie looked at it like, I just don't want anything happening at all. But I think where Fergie kind of sort of in the end went wrong is that he didn't want to deal with agents. Hang on.
No, they're breaking through. My thing's behind, I think.
Mine's behind.
Oh,
the getting in. There we go. Leipzig.
Leipzig.
Madness, isn't it, really?
Ay, caramba.
That is literally an ay, caramba.
Game over.
Black Man United, we're recruiting. Man United are recruiting all black. If you want to come, bruv, listen.
Chelsea are recruiting all black more so. Let me know.
He didn't say he wants to stay. Do you know what I mean?
Do you have any update on the Partey deal?
He's not going Arsenal, man.
No, he ain't going there. Yeah.
He's not going Arsenal. I don't think Gabriel's going Arsenal either. It looks like he's going Napoli. It looks like he was his agent.
He's got to fill the medical if he goes Arsenal.
You watch this. They'll give you about a month, and then he'll say you can only get loan deals.
Bro,
you just know it. You just. I'm sorry. I'm real. I mean, I
heard Ceballos is going back to Madrid as well. So that's another one you lot are losing out on.
Talking on, I'm going to quickly talk a bit about Chelsea and Havertz quickly. If Chelsea don't end up signing this guy in the next week or two, I don't think we should waste any time. I think we should start looking in the areas that we need to. So defensively, left back, centre back, and
I think they're doing that already
goalie as well. But if they are, we're not hearing about it. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be a lot about Havertz. So
no, but
if we're not going to waste that, if we're not going to spend 80-90 million on the top player, which he is, then let's start talking about areas that we do actually need to improve that are going to help us compete for next season. Because at the moment, all I've heard is Declan Rice and Havertz.
The thing is about Chelsea is that you normally don't hear about their deals until they're done, generally. So I'm telling you now, there are deals probably getting they're negotiating with clubs over deals, and you're just not going to hear about it until it's possibly done.
KJB, KJB don't let news come out. They got it on lock, no internet. Keeping it quiet.
I saw a picture of Declan Rice with John Terry this morning as well. So watch the space.
Yeah.
But last year, look how we waited on Koscielny to make his mind up what he was doing, and because we ended up waiting so long, we had to end up not actually go look for a proper centre back, and then not getting David Luiz.
Yeah. And just as Chelsea fans, can I ask you to would you think? Because I said it on our podcast on the weekend, where I think you lot are almost getting finessed by Leverkusen by paying 90 to 100 mil for Havertz. I think he's going to be a top player, but I don't think he's that player right now. And
I don't think
the fee might be. And my issue is Thiago is available for 30 million, who I've seen him dominate the last couple of weeks in Champions League against centre midfielders who are way better than him. People claim are better than him, and it's available for 30 million. If the issues are creativity in Chelsea's midfield, why not get Thiago and then use the other 70 million to fix that defense, like you're saying.
If you ask me, yeah, obviously they said there's a reason why they want Havertz, and it's because they feel he's a generational talent that you just can't miss out on, and I understand that. But if I was to go for creative, I believe he is. But hold on, if I was to go for a creative midfielder, I actually won't go for Thiago. There's a guy called Hossim Owa at Lyon who would be available for around 40 mil. I'll take him 100%. I watched him against Juve
over Thiago.
I will.
Who? Sorry,
Hossim Owa.
I wouldn't take any of them.
I will take him.
I feel like a lot of people are looking at Thiago and thinking, "Oh, he's 29. It's only a matter of time before he starts declining."
It's not that for me.
He's got an injury history.
Yeah, no, it's not that for me. I don't think our issues are too much centrally. All right, we've got Jorginho we might get rid of, but we have got Kane there, we have got Kovacic there. You know, for me personally, we need to concentrate on the back. If we had Havertz into it, the only thing I think Havertz would bring, other than his youthfulness, is the eye to make a pass. And we don't have many of them. You know, you can see that this season.
Thiago was that.
Yeah, potentially, but he plays in a deeper role, doesn't he, Thiago? You know,
but you lot playing a 4-3-3 all season. I feel like you lot would then have to change your shape to kind of fit Havertz in, and then it's like going to be another season of adapting and adjusting.
But they wouldn't, would they? They'd drop Mount and they'd play Havertz behind Werner and Pulisic on the left. It would be the same formation as we're currently playing, with maybe Kane and maybe Kovacic behind him. That's what they'd possibly do with him, you know. But for me personally, what I'm more worried about is the goal.
Barkley though, bro. I don't even know what you need in Barkley now, bro.
But Barkley I reckon we're gonna sell Barkley this season, man. We bought him for 15 mil.
Oh,
I sent him to Arsenal. I beg you for like 8.
Hey, I can see that happening.
Frustrating footballer I've ever seen, because if you look at his stature and how he's quick, he's strong, he's got a good touch, but he always underperforms. Like, he never ever rises to the occasion. You think he could potentially be something in the England team?
All the gear, no idea.
Yeah. I feel like
later, isn't it?
Go on.
When he was young, I felt like he could go on and do something. The first couple of sort of breakthrough for, what's he about? But yeah, just never reached that potential. That's where, again, output over ability. Like, his ability was there. It just never came to fruition ever. Not at any singular point. But yeah, oh God, All Blacks up there as well for this.
Go onto Owe, yeah, that I was speaking about as well. You know how you lot are saying, you know, we need to look for these young players that will break through and blah blah. That's one right there.
He's one. Yeah, no, I agree. He is one.
Do you know what I mean? Who you could get for a really good price. In a couple years, you're going to be seeing him for 100, 120 mil.
Agree.
When you can get him right now.
I just think when you're at Man United and Chelsea and you're looking at a project and you're looking at building this team over a couple of seasons, you don't want to be going for someone who's already been established. It's going to last 2-3 years. You want to be looking at someone that's going to be there for 6, 7, or however long you want.
I hear that, but the only reason why I was recommending Thiago was also, I think that Chelsea, I don't know, I feel like the dressing room outside of Aspi maybe lacks some leaders and some experience, I feel like. And I think he would bring that with Thiago. I feel like he's a proven winner. He like with Aouar and Kai Havertz, all these traits we're claiming they have, I feel like he's already got in the bag, locked in now. And for a cut price fee, for me, I just can't understand why more teams aren't trying to sign him, and they're only leaving it to Liverpool. And Liverpool are just taking their time and waltz into the deal.
I think that might be part of it. I think he might want Liverpool. And there's always this element of, let's say you're Chelsea and, you know, you go knock on the door of Thiago's representatives and say, look, we're interested. And he says, oh, look, he like Bruno Fernandes did when it comes to United, he only wants to go there. It's almost like, I think there's an element of that. It's a bit like Koulibaly. There's talk that United are interested. I think he wants City, maybe a bit of Liverpool. So it's like, if he isn't really interested in us, I don't want us trying to make him turn his head and come to us. I can hear that. I think it's different when a player is sitting on Tottenham's medical table and you can make him turn his head, like you did with Willian. I think that's doable because Tottenham are a much, much, much smaller team and you're taking them away from them. But if there's a player right now having a medical at City, we've done this, and we can turn their head by offering them more money or something. It doesn't. I don't think it works. Like, you want someone to want to be with you. I mean, I always love that story as well about Ozil, that he did his medical and then sat around in the medical centre at Arsenal for about 3 hours because there was rumours that United were going to come in for him and he was waiting to see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. And I love that. I just love that.
Did you hear what he's come out with today?
True. Sorry, mate.
Did you hear what he's come out with today about like?
He's going to see out his contract. I love it. I love it.
Brilliant. It is brilliant. It is brilliant.
He's going to make sure he gets every penny.
I'll probably be back later if you lot are still on in it.
All right, bro. I'll speak to you soon, my man. Take care.
Take care, man.
He's going to make sure he gets every penny's worth of that contract, and I don't blame him.
Hang on,
because at the time when Arsenal renewed
you were excited about Højbjerg, weren't you? So he's a Tottenham fan.
That's what Tottenham do, though.
I don't know.
Tottenham sign.
Yeah, I wouldn't say excitement, but I think for me, he ticks a lot of boxes of what we need, and that's what I like, to be honest. I think one of the things we've walked in is the defensive mid area over the last season or two, and to get someone who's been a cog in his side to allow the more creative players to work, someone who actually wants to defend, someone who's bringing leadership, which we lack, and for the fee that it is, for me, it's a low-risk move. It's a win-win situation.
Can I just honestly ask, are you worried about, like, say, Kane and Son wanting to leave if no, there's no progression in 2 years?
I think that's more external fans worry more about that than Spurs fans do. Yeah, and that's honest opinion. I don't worry about it because I think Kane, is on a long-term deal. So if he was to ever leave, I think we'd get a ridiculous fee for it, which so and it's similar case with Son. I think he's got 3 or 4 years left in his deal. So for me, they're kind of the ball is in our court, if that makes sense. Now they don't strike me as the two type of players who will kick up a fuss, but at the same time, if Spurs had no success or with anything over the next season or two under Jose, I wouldn't blame them for requesting a transfer, maybe thinking, do you know what, I'm getting to 28, 29 now. Do I start to consider a move elsewhere? And in that case, by all means, I'd wish them all the best because they've done pretty much exactly what they were brought in to do and more, in my eyes.
Well, to get to a Champions League final was pretty impressive anyway.
It's even worse to lose it though, man. I'm not big on getting to a final and then losing it. Like if you don't win it doesn't really matter.
I'll back you on that. I'm not about this bridesmaid lifestyle.
Yeah, and Spurs fans love to do that. Don't get me wrong. Like we love we got to the final, but for me, if you don't want it, it don't matter.
My dad's a Spurs fan and like old school, like he's mid-60s now, 160. Yeah,
Leipzig are through.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, it's game's over.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed.
I'm happy. Do you know what? I want Leipzig to win it because I want Werner to himself out of it.
He still might get a medal.
Yeah, he definitely does get a medal.
I don't want that.
You can't accept that. If you leave,
no, but Terry, in a normal season, he would have been.
In a normal season, he gets a medal.
Exactly.
On a serious level, though, they might beat PSG.
He's there, though.
No, but without him, do they even get to this stage in the first place?
If you accept a medal for if you accept a medal for a game you didn't play in or were on the bench for, you're a loser. So I ain't got no time for that. Like, no, you didn't play in it. You're done out here. You know, old school 99 mentality. Do you know what I mean? No putting your kit on. No putting your kit on when you didn't play in that final. Like, simple as that for me.
Oh, fact. You can't do it in a John Terry, bruv.
You don't put that kit on. Stephen, mate, thank you very much for coming on. We're going to throw a few more callers on now. Cheers, bro. Appreciate that, my man. We've got Soul. Soul. What are you saying, Soul?
I just want to say about the Thiago thing. I think with Thiago, even City are not going in for him. That's the thing. I don't think that's why, with his injury records, and Pep's kind of worked with him like before and stuff. He knows his injury records won't even be good for the City team. And plus in Bayern, players like Leon Goretzka and Kimmich are in front of him in the Bayern team. Then why would he want to stay there? That's the reason why he's leaving Bayern. And I don't know why Liverpool are going in for him, because I think Liverpool already got a solid midfield. I think he would probably just be a squad player the most.
Who, Thiago at Liverpool?
He would slip right. Yeah.
Shut up. He's better than every single Liverpool midfielder you have, honestly, like, I mean, it's with respect. Liverpool have got very good midfield players. They have got good midfield players. You won the Premier League. Those boys would be lucky if they get to lace the boots. If they get to carry his boot bag into the dressing room, they're lucky. Thiago is elite, creme de la creme. You are talking.
Yeah.
That is like comparing Kerry Katona's music with Beyonce's.
Liverpool's biggest weakness. Liverpool's
Yeah,
biggest.
but I don't think
squad
he would get in. I don't think he would just get in front of Fabinho and Henderson, who would play the deeper role.
Yeah, it's next to them where he'd play, and he would easily take Henderson's role. Wijnaldum's role would be snatched.
He's better on the ball.
And I know he's saying like injury record, but if I'm not mistaken, he played pretty much every single game up until I think it was the last 6 where he had a groin injury. So I mean, I hope we're not saying, you know, like he's got an injury history just because of one record. Like I think sometimes we're overplaying that a little bit. But for me,
Fuad. If you go and look at his injury record, it's really bad. It is really bad.
And I think
the guy's talent is
for me, a player of that talent for 30 million, I would bite your hands off. Any team in the top six.
David, it's like Pulisic, right? He's come to Chelsea, right? He's been injured, half a season, but he's still mightily talented.
No,
you're going to say you don't want him in the team.
But for me, it's
good comparison there.
No, for me, it's like with Pulisic, we don't have to change our system to fit him in. Liverpool basically have to change how they play football because that guy will not be able to, for a whole season, be pressing the whole time.
No, I get that. But then he wouldn't be doing the pressing anyway. That's why you got Henderson in the team. That's what he does. He just runs around.
Yeah, but the whole team has to press. If one of you doesn't do it, then there's a massive gap.
Thiago's role in the Liverpool's team would be to get the ball and get them playing.
The thing is, I think.
Yeah, but then that restricts the job of the fullbacks. Because then if you're getting
that's the point, David. That's the point. I think what Jurgen Klopp is looking to do. I think
is evolve.
Between the end of the season, they were getting found out. 4-4-1-1 was the formation. They were getting found out by teams. Now people would say, because of lockdown, because of lack of competitiveness, because of tiredness. We all know what those were. They were excuses. It was the system was 2.5 years of that system being immense. People are starting to figure it slightly. So they've got to change up a little bit. Matty G's joined us. Matty G, what do you want to say, bro?
I like the Thiago links because I feel like he could unlock our midfield. And I agree with you were saying. When it got to that formation, we couldn't really get any balls or any creativity in there. But the injuries, that's the one thing that kind of like just gives me a little bit of a worry, just the injury history. But I do like the Thiago links because I think the creativity will help because we have been missing somebody with that creative flair that'll open up the defense. I feel like that would be something that we need to keep us on edge because I do feel we're getting a little bit teams are starting to figure out how we play and if we can compact them and keep them from breaking through. Like if you look at it, all we really do is just whip crosses in continuously.
I was going to say
or a piece of magic from Bobby Firmino, but once Bobby comes off, the creativity really drops, and so we haven't had somebody to we lost and continue.
Matty, it must be worth you risking it for 30 million. What's 30 million in today's game?
Literally. And for 29,
remember, Liverpool aren't rich. Remember, they're a Moneyball club. So unfortunately, 30 mil is like a fortune.
It's selling Divock Origi. That's all it is.
Well, no, that's all you've got to do. Ronaldo, and plus we got that 175 from winning the league coming in. That might be able to help us also use it. Plus, we might sell Harry Wilson for 20 because he got 20 million, and Newcastle Villa slapped on Origi, Origi's good, but when he comes on, the quality drops.
Backup at best, and that's it.
I mean, I feel like if we get rid of Origi and we're linked with Osama Sarr from Watford, I'm looking forward to. I like that Sarr signing because he's fast, he's pacey, he plays on the right wing, so he can cover for Salah, and he's physical.
I just feel like he's just going to be another Minamino, where he's just going to be kind of all Divok's place, basically. You don't want to be paying 40 million for a guy who's literally going to be substitute for Mane and Salah, who, let's be honest, are not going to get dropped. For me, I think that if we're talking Thiago to Liverpool, that is, I don't know what the stall is, what the delay is, but get Gini Wijnaldum out of there because he's got 1 year left in his deal. You say, thank you for your services. We appreciate all the hard work you've done. We appreciate the goals in the semi-final, was it last year? But pack your bags. It's time to go. We need an upgrade. And the thing is I think you it's time to go!
Time to get out. Get down.
I think that was so important. You said, like, this season there was such a almost over-reliance on Trent. And I think Liverpool started to get figured out in the end. With Thiago, it gives you that kind of unlock.
He gives us a player that'll kind of like keep the defense.
And one thing as well is I don't want it to seem like, oh, you lot would lose the work rate that you get in Gini Wijnaldum. Because you look at amount of yards Thiago does in the Bayern team. You look at even his defensive contribution. He's top 5 across interceptions, tackling, and I can't remember what it was, but across Europe, across all 5 leagues over the last 5 years. So his defensive capabilities is up there as well, and I think is very overlooked because technically he's so sound. But Liverpool
wouldn't want him if he didn't have defensive capabilities.
Steroids.
Absolutely, Matty.
Listen, he didn't have defensive capabilities also.
Absolutely, Matty. I appreciate you coming on, bro. Thank you very much, my man. Take care.
Terry.
Top man. Thank you. Next up, we've got Shane in the house, and we've got Elite KJ. What's going on, boys?
Elite. Okay. Elite.
Oh, sorry, I hit it.
I'm just happy, fam. Yo, that Nagelsmann masterclass today was beautiful. Let's go, baby.
What do you mean Nagelsmann masterclass? What are you talking about?
He played up the park, fam. He played him up the park, bro. What are you on about?
David, what I would say is, how many managers could lose a player that's got 40-odd goal contributions this season, could lose them and then get to a semi-final of a Champions League?
I'm not having masterclass. I'm not having it.
He's the next Man United manager. He's who I want to replace.
It is, Terry.
When Ollie wins a couple of Prems in the Champions League and moves on, none of them back.
Yo, Terry.
We should get off on the
Terry.
I see that.
Is it still friends on football, bro? Or we chatting now? Or we can't have this conversation?
Let's go.
Because I tweeted, Terry tweeted me saying friend zone football today.
Hang on, whoa. Bro, listen, you remember when did I tweet it? I tweeted it at the end of the first half when they played a lot of good football, but every final ball was wrong. That's friend zone football. When you play all the good stuff, but you don't create anything, that's when you've been friend zoned. And as I said to somebody earlier, as soon as you got friend zoned, you got to get out of there. You got to move on quick. And they did. They changed it and they scored. So when I tweeted it, I was like yesterday when I was doing with the Neymar thing, right? Up until Neymar turned it on in the last 5 minutes, Neymar for me was having an average game. Loads of good dribbles, loads of good movement, loads of good skills, but no end product. And everyone's like, no, he's brilliant. The only time they celebrated was when he put an output. So yes, it was friend zone football, but they come good. Nagelsmann, future Man United manager. Simple as that.
I think Chelsea should get up on Mancano.
No, Chelsea. Why are you saying
he was excellent?
Why are you saying Chelsea, bro? Man United just signed up on Mancano. Imagine him next to the world class Maguire.
We wouldn't get him though. We wouldn't get him.
No. Here's what needs to happen. Yeah. When Nagelsmann comes in, we keep Deo Upamecano at Leipzig, and then when Julian comes in, he brings Deo with him. A good couple more years on him. And man's like, yo, Deo, come on, fam, let's go and make United sick.
No, guy's good. I've been saying it. I know he does make mistakes. That's because when you watch Leipzig play, they're really he's got to be playing those really hard, fast balls into the midfield. So.
Hello.
Like when you see that he's got a really low pass accuracy, that's just a way that Nagelsmann plays his football.
Yeah, but the way he drives out from the box, ridiculous.
That's what I like the way he carries the ball out of defense. I think that's a trait that more and more we're kind of seeing defenders. It's almost like a must-have. Yeah. And if you've got that at that young age, that confidence, and then the ability to kind of deliver a decent pass at the end of that as well, which I think it's something that's underrated. It's one thing being able to carry it out, but then also deliver that pass to kind of unlock that diagonal. I think he's got that in his locker as well. And defensively, he's shown today, listen, big moments, big games. These are kind of the ones where you kind of put your name on the map to say, listen, I've arrived type of thing. And this is one of those performances. So fair play to the kid.
Apparently, I'm a Sith Lord right now. I'm taking it, man. I'm here to bring the vibes. Bring that lightning and that, you know what I'm saying?
You are a geek, so you enjoy that, won't you, bro? You know
I am, fam. Now, but talking about today's game, away from Nagelsmann, Simeone, is he starting to creep into the criminal area of football, or is he still good? Is he not?
This is what confused me about that game.
Don't do this.
This is what confused me. As soon as they scored the goal, they just sat back again. It was so.
Yeah, but is he turning? Is he turning into Mourinho now? His way of football.
No, don't do this.
What's all this?
Don't disrespect my guy.
Mourinho? Please tell him, David. We can't be doing this. Like, you lot are trying to make a leopard changes, like a tiger changes stripes. Stop it. He's a defensive-minded, counter-attacking coach.
It's like
you have to appreciate him for what he is. Literally,
this guy who beat Liverpool. You've all seemed to have forgotten that.
Yeah, but they got lucky in that game. They were lucky.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean? No, they weren't. They played them off the park. They played them
not at Anfield. No, they didn't at Anfield.
What do you mean they didn't?
They went to Anfield and actually gave them a game.
They got battered at Anfield.
How? In what way? How can you be 3-1? They won 3-1.
I hope you're not judging it by possession stats.
Literally,
no. The amount of chances Liverpool created was ridiculous. The amount of shots they had. I think
Simeone wants you to do that. That's the way he plays his football. That's how Simeone operates. It's not about having most possession. It's not about having quality shots. It's about when you get your chance, you score, and when you defend with your life. That's how you do it. So regardless of how many shots they had,
and it's a case of you have the ball. Let me see how good your team is. You break us down, and literally that's where a lot of teams struggle. Yeah. And for me, I give him credit. He has found his kind of niche. He has kind of found what he's good at and what his team is good at as well. Let's be honest. Because if he starts trying to play expansive football with
Terry, you can't be doing that up in here, Terry. You can't be doing that.
Hey, it's got to be done sometimes. You got to clear the system, you know what I mean?
Yo, Coffin needs to go outside, innit?
No, but I think
you're not in the same room, bruv. We can't catch you through a mic through like.
Wait, 5G, fam. It's possible. 5G.
5G. Nah, but one thing I realized that always happens is with defensive-minded coach like Jose, like Simeone, one bad result goes their way. And everybody gets the knives out, and it's like,
I'm not discrediting Simeone. I'm not discrediting.
They're killing the beautiful game. It's like, no, that's just another side of the game. You got to appreciate the dark arts.
Yeah, but they don't ever have a plan B. These kind of managers. It's either there's only one way of playing strategy.
No. Hold on. Does Klopp have a plan B? Does Klopp have a plan B? Because Klopp's plan B is give it to the fullbacks. Let's go. Klopp's one is, hey, let's do tiki-taka. If that don't work, I don't know what the hell's going to. That's been Pep's biggest problem throughout his Champions League career.
Then they've got what's his name, Van Dijk, to just bang in a header.
And the funny thing is, about Atletico, even if the system don't work, they're probably getting a point anyway, because they don't concede goals. Today, literally, the reason they've got knocked out is a freak deflection. The shot's going wide, and even if it is going on target,
I'm not having that. The reason why they lost today is because they just simply got outplayed. They were outplayed for most of the game. They had a good spell in the second half where they was dominating, but for the most, when Felix came on,
you'd say that about every result. That's just how they play.
Yes. Wait, David. Chelsea played like that under Conte, right? They used to defend. What they used to do, win one goal, 2 goal. Yeah, it was defending.
But David,
Conte and Simeone are different managers.
Yeah, but David, if that happens every game, and they still win, then they're cool. But today they lost, so therefore they got outplayed.
I'm not denying that. I'm just not having it as a masterclass. Okay, I think it was a very even. It was a very even game.
No. The reason why it was is because it's an RB Leipzig team. He's just lost Timo Werner. He's playing with players that are not as good as the Atletico team. And I've seen many times before where Jose gets a scrappy 1-0 win off someone's arse, and that's considered a masterclass. So don't come up in here and say it's not a masterclass because it was a deflected goal. It don't matter.
No. A tactical masterclass is different to saying a Nagelsmann masterclass. Like Nagelsmann, what's the masterclass that he showed us today, for example?
The way that they were playing against Atletico, the way they was breaking them down and making opportunities.
They didn't break them down that often, though.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I saw that many breaking down of the clear-cut chance. They were lacking that final third. for me.
Yeah.
They were lacking that killer ball for me.
That
so
is
for me,
true.
I'm like, you Diego Simeone, you were playing to his plan, essentially. He was saying, here you go, have the ball in front of my area. See what you can do with it. And they did nothing. And then they got a lucky deflection now. And because Nagelman is like the new media darling, he's the new Poch, the new guy that everybody, if my manager leaves, I want him in. So as soon as he gets a good result, the bandwagon comes out. It's, hey, let's chill. He's still won nothing in his career. He is nothing right now but a glorified Poch.
Yeah, true. But he's also 33.
He's my manager, though. He's my
Listen,
United fans are saying the same thing about Poch just 1 year ago when he was going in his little magical Champions League run. So don't get it twisted. It's just a new trend now.
I feel like, for me, like I've said, that's why one of the reasons I want Ollie to stay. I still want Nagelsmann to have a couple more years out.
Prove yourself.
Learning his trade. I just like the way he plays, the way he does it. We're going to end the stream very soon, but we are going to add a scouser, a plastic scouser, though, to the stream in Rack, who's got a shirt on. He looks like a tech billionaire wearing that shirt. As he's rolled up. How you doing, mate? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. What you saying, bro? What's on your mind? What you thinking? What you feeling?
I'm good, man. Just finished watching the Leipzig Atletico game. I was glad that Atletico won. Sorry, that's a Leipzig one. And yeah, I heard David hating again. David is always a bit of a hater. So
I'm just telling you what happened.
You know what happened? Do you know what happened when it comes to David? David's girl definitely cheated with a Liverpool fan. You know it, innit?
David just bites the bait. That's what it is.
It's not. David's 14 years old though. That's why it happens. You know what I mean? Baby.
Nah, it's all good, man. It's all love.
He lost his girl to Ram. That's why he's angry.
Ram. Oh my god.
Where is Ram, man? I miss him.
If Ram fell into a bucket full of boobs, he'd come out sucking his thumb. Do you know what I mean? That way, he's done. He's done. Yeah, nothing will happen there. But there we go. There you go. Yeah, so we're talking Thiago. A few of the viewers, and I think we had Soul come on. It might have been Matty. Someone said that Thiago doesn't walk into the Liverpool midfield. That's a madness comment, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best midfielders in the world, and there's a couple of arguments as to whether he could fit into the current system. I think he's a good enough player to be able to do so. Bear in mind, he was brought up in the Barcelona academy, so he's fully up to speed. Not necessarily executing the same tactics that Klopp employs, but certainly formation-wise, he could play that role. And I think there was talk during lockdown. Pep Linders, who's our assistant manager, he was talking about how, to a certain extent, what you guys were saying a little bit, that after Liverpool been playing in a similar fashion for the last kind of 2.5 years, and they're looking at changing up tactics a little bit and bringing in a player like Thiago, who's good on the ball, both in terms of passing, but also can beat a man, get a yard of space and thread a through ball and that kind of thing. That represents another avenue to help us enhance our attack. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense for to bring a player like Thiago in. I know. You guys were talking about the kind of physical aspect about Liverpool's pressing and stuff, but actually, I think if you watch us play, and I watch pretty much every game that we play, we're not the crazy pressing team we were 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. Our press now is a lot more controlled, and it's more about the line that we play and the line that we hold. So I don't think physically Thiago would have to be averse to playing in the Klopp system, because actually as long as he adapted a little bit and the system adapted a little bit to him, he could fit in pretty easily. So, and if Wijnaldum doesn't sign the contract, I think Gini's been great for us. He's a very good player, but if he doesn't sign that contract, then I'd feel a bit sad, especially at the moment, to let like a 20-25 million pounds in the current market player walk away for free next season. So that would be a smart move to switch him out potentially. If he's not going to sign.
I think one thing Liverpool fans as well forget is Naby Keita. I think that we saw flashes in the last couple of games at the end of the season that where I was like, hey, this kid might have a breakout year next season, even though he was signed 2 seasons ago, I understand. But I think if you got rid of Wijnaldum, brought in Thiago, you've still got Keita there who's kind of able to unlock defenses and able to kind of do the similar roles that Wijnaldum was doing, in all honesty. I think people forget
and you got
Keita
as
still
well.
at Liverpool sometimes. 80 million they bought him for. I think you still want to get your money's worth out of him.
Well, yeah, I think it was 50 odd million or something like that. But obviously not small money at all. But look, I mean, Liverpool fans, we really are really invested in Naby Keita and making and look, even Van Dijk has said, I think when we were having the trophy celebrations, he said, look, there's a lot more to come from Keita. When I see him playing training, he thinks he's world class, and there are glimpses there. There's definitely a player there, and if it doesn't happen, and
that's a big comment, that is, isn't it?
Wait, Terry, Terry don't like these ability, man. It's all about outputs, fam.
I like that.
Does it, then he is it. Do you know what I mean? I hate ability. Do you know what I mean? It's like you do it when you can do it. I'm like it with my kids. I do a thing with my kids, right? So my son recently, like when he by the way, Angelino left back at United. Gerard, thanks for the super chat, but no, bruv. Good, but
man was behind Zinchenko, who's a cam.
I feel like close cigar. Yeah,
it's only facts, baby. Only facts.
Yeah, I just think my son, when if you got to work hard, you got to achieve it. So like we do this thing where I never let him win a race against me or run in the park or a game against me. Unless no.
Yes, Terry. Let him know.
No way. Let me finish. Not unless I see him dig deep. So say we're racing to the goalpost the other day, and he's almost crying because I'm in front of him, and I'm going, keep trying, and you might win. And the first 2 or 3 times over a couple of days, he just kept on giving up, and I'm like, I don't want you to give up. It's not about winning; it's about not giving up. And then he really gritted himself, started running harder, running his back harder. And I did let him win because he kept on working. Then he realized as long as I keep pushing, I get to win sometimes. I think that's the important message there. So when it comes to
Mbappe, full underway. Project Mbappe is fully underway. I like that. Building the mentality. I love that.
I've got 3 kids, and I want them to, they've got to give me a good retirement, is what I feel like. Do you know what I mean? They're mine. Having said that, I'm teaching my daughter to potty train, and we're teaching the daughter to potty, train, and shut on the floor today, the bitch. Daddy. What? I was like, what's she doing? I was like, she's like coming up 2, right? Coming up 2. This thing was a log, bro. I'm like, I thought a man broke in my house. I thought a man was in my house and shut off. I was like, wow. Obviously, I recorded pictures. That's for the 18th. Do you know what I mean? That's what you did, man. Like, now kids are mad, but now you can't let your kids win. The same as you can't keep telling Naby Keita he's world class until he starts doing it on the actual football pitch. Otherwise, he might shit on your floor. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Also, watch it. Scoring long range bangers against Chelsea doesn't matter because we've got Kit Kat fingers in goal. I don't count it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and to be fair, Chelsea love conceding a long range goal.
We love bangers. We love conceding bangers.
KJ, wait, so you're getting it wrong. All you got to do is shoot on target and you score, man. That is it.
This comment makes me feel confused. Why have we got a Spurs fan on the stream? Top 3 only. Well, Chelsea.
Wait, that means Chelsea. Dave can't be here either. You can't be here either, Modas. What are you doing?
I'm dying.
No, it is. He's on that. He's on the wave of. Oh, but we got the same points. Yeah, but you're not 3rd, are you, mate? You're 4th.
Mate,
all we had to do was draw against West Ham. We would have finished above United.
No, forget that, David. It's same points. All right, let's just keep it at that.
We came 3rd as well.
No, Jem. Let them finish above us this year. That's cool. But next year, I'm looking at that front 4.
Ours will be better.
And I'll be watching that defense as well.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Christensen.
Don't worry about it.
Dyer and Sanchez.
Well, when that Kepa deal falls through, you see when Atletico come in for this Oblak trade thing and it falls through and you still got Kepa in goal, it's gonna be peak. It's gonna be peak.
You Chelsea fans actually believe that you'll get.
Yeah, if you believe it, you're gone. It's genuinely. Terry said it the other time. It's like having a Lamborghini and then being like, "I'll give you 50 grand and a Fiat Punto." It don't work. It don't work.
It does not make
potentially,
sense.
Kepa, wait a sec. Kepa has got youth. You never know. He might become
youth
better.
To be fair, the only positive he's got is that he's Spain #1. And how?
Yeah,
How?
Only because De Gea's worse right now.
Have a #1. What are you talking about? They have 2 #2s and they just play for vibes. That's what happens.
It's great. Honestly, you're talking about Kepa like he's the ugly duckling, bruv. That's a fairy story. It doesn't really happen. Do you know what I mean? He's finished. But now next year is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see who does what in the transfer market, what comes off as an example. I love it. I love the transfer market. It's amazing because you can think that the best people last year, we ain't got none on but Gooners, because Gooners thought they had like the ultimate transfer window.
They
thought they were like third.
They thought Pepe was world class before he even kicked the ball.
Oh my god!
Wait,
best
teeny best
in the league.
Oh my god! I remember after the first 5 games
back in the blimmin' league. Yeah,
after the first 5 games, people were comparing Pepe to Dan James. I remember, and I said, "It's over for him." And by the end of the season, Pulisic had cleared him. I said, "Nah." You lot lost out on that deal. I'm sorry.
You know when a young striker gets played on the right and clears
No. And I'm not. He was actually decent. I'll give Pepe. Yeah, second half of the season he actually started to show some life. But when you pay 72 million for a player and give him the kind of hype Arsenal fans were giving him last summer,
it was that hype.
Oh my god!
It's not just
you
that
thought they were signing Hazard.
You spend 72 million pounds.
Sorry, that's a bad shout.
You spend 72 million pounds on a player, and he don't even believe in start every game. What difference is it, mate?
Wait, they pay. You know what's bad? Yeah, they pay 72 million pound for Zaha's water boy in the Ivory Coast team. Man, do you know he didn't start a single game in the AFCON?
That's so disrespectful. That's so disrespectful.
That's
so true.
How are you paying 72 million pound for the Ivory Coast water boy, fam?
Zaha's available for 30 million apparently. I reckon they might get him this year.
Yeah. But there we go. Boys, I appreciate you all coming on. Having your say,
man.
Doing whatever and everything else. Fuad, let them know where they can find you, socials and stuff.
At Fuad Kadani on all socials or at Stoppage Time TV.
Yes, man. Make sure you guys go check out that podcast over there. Everyone else, thank you. Is it Bayern Barca tomorrow?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Big game.
Yeah. Bayern all the way.
Messi's going to show up.
Early prediction.
Oh, man. Bayern's a complete team. They're going to win it this season. 100%.
That's what I said. I think too many people are expecting Bayern to win. I thought Atletico might do some shithousery sneak out. I think City. Watch out, man. Watch out.
What about PSG? Do you think Neymar and Mbappe can do a mad one?
It could be an El
If Mbappe gets to be fit, if he gets to be fit, then yes.
Yeah.
But you can tell yesterday the guy's not at 100%. And that's worrying. That's the worrying bit.
Yeah, about to say, man was not at 100 and was disgusting.
Yeah, it was mad when he came on. It was just next level. But be a big game tomorrow night. Make sure you all download the Flick app, available right now. About 500 users on there now. I'm right up near the top of the tables on a prediction. Have you boys all been doing any predictions?
Yeah,
I predicted Atletico would win 2-0.
I forgot to do mine. I forgot to do my RB Leipzig win today, and I'm upset. I was literally typing, and I just forgot to send it.
I think I'm fourth at the table on there again, showing that I'm not just a clickbait merchant and a pretty face. Do you know what I mean? So actually,
well, they're pretty. That's definitely, but
definitely clickbait.
Definitely clickbait.
Definitely clickbait. It's what I do.
Yeah.
I always remember when I got my thing for 100K up there, right? They do this. You have to do this little questionnaire, and then they spend about 2 weeks assessing your channel, and they check that if your videos are considered clickbait, then you don't get the thing. So that was always my endorsement, in the sense of like YouTube literally checks something like 50% of your videos to make sure your titles match with the content of what you do. So that's when people go clickbait. I'm like, yeah, but YouTube don't think so. Like a silver award stuck on my wall, so I care more what you think about. But there we go. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.